What's up, Otaku fam? We are the Otaku Couple back with more reactions here for the channel with some more Gigguk. We have Frieren changed me for the better. It's on our list of things to react to over on our Patreon, but you know, there's a lot going on over there right now. Wrapping up one series, just started a different one. The Yu Hakusho is still going strong. We're in the Dark Tournament arc now. It's a lot going on. Look, we have a long list of shows that we are eventually going to get to. If you would like to see what we've already reacted to over there, fully uncut anime, TV shows, and movies, links down below for the Patreon. Let's hop on in and let's see what he's got talking for us today.
Is a precious commodity that every one of us takes for granted. Time is something we never truly appreciate until it's already gone. Time is a really cheesy way to start off this video. I'm sorry. I know like 10% of you are on the toilet right now just looking for a way to pass time while you poop. And another 20% of you are probably having lunch when I said that line. Frieren is one of the most popular anime currently airing and is on most people's shortlist for one of the best shows that started airing last year. The story of a functionally immortal elf girl who truly regretted the time she didn't cherish with the people she was with and has to come to terms with what the passage of time means for her. And it's this emotional crux that almost every video I've seen talking about the show hones in on.
Even though someone like her possesses more time than any of us will ever come close to having, it can pass her by just as quickly if she's not careful about it.
Myself maybe included. But as the series has gone on and I've gotten to experience more of the story, past even what I had initially read in the manga, I really think this just scratches the surface of what Frieren has to offer and the tale it is evolving into. That alone would not have been enough to keep its throne as the top-rated anime of all time for so long. That alone would not have been enough to start its own cultural phenomenon here in Japan. That alone would not have taken one of the most poignant, emotional series to come out in years and had every single aspect of it looted by so many goddamn talented fan artists. Jesus Christ, I thought this was meant to be an emotional show. That was not a complaint. I don't think I fully did the series justice in the video I made 2 years ago, so I wanted to revisit Frieren, because now that the anime is coming to an end, I've seen it evolve from a series with a unique concept and a hard-hitting beginning to an all-around masterclass in the fantasy genre that seems to be doing just about everything. A proper old-school fantasy adventure, lessons that hit deep, emotional moments, romance, the bloody tuning exams. This show is doing it all. Tying it.
What else could you ask for?
Time.
Can't wait to watch this show.
Because it is time to talk about today's sponsor, X Asterisk, which is currently ranked one of the most purchased games in the
That was very nice.
That was a very nice segue. Shouts out to you,
Gigguk.
Gigguk.
Game, but rather a
Shouts
buy-to-play,
out
real-time,
to
turn-based
you.
hybrid 3D RPG today on the Apple or Google Play Store. Let's get back to Frieren. Coming into the Frieren anime, I already knew how hard the beginning episodes were going to hit from my experience with the manga. It gave us an interesting perspective of how time moves through the eyes of a long life being and hit like a truck looking for its next isekai protagonist. But the big, humongous, Frieren burger-sized question mark was, where do we go from here? Having the story start at the end of another story is a cool idea, but how do you make that interesting in the long run? I've seen plenty of series that have presented this really cool concept, said what it needed to in the opening episodes, and then failed to capture the emotional peak we saw at the beginning, which caused me to make sweeping statements like, I don't think it's the best show of all time. No. I don't even think it's the best show of the year. I would argue that it might not even be the best show of the season. Now, long-term viewers of this channel will know that I am never wrong, except when I am absolutely wrong. Let's break down just how wrong I was. Frieren's opening was so strong that it had the Vinland Saga effect on me, where the prologue was so good in its own bubble, I forgot that was what it was meant to be. A prologue. A story that gives us the introductory baseline for the real oversized meat plate of the story to come. What the fuck is up with all these characters eating comically large portions of food? But the question remains, where do you take a story that takes place in a world where the main story has already ended? There's this one masterclass where Aaron Sorkin, the writer of A Few Good Men, Social Network, West Wing, talks about
intention and obstacle.
Characters need an intention, a goal they have to achieve that can't just be a small want, but a strong need. We need to defeat the Demon Lord or the world will end. I need to invent the nuclear bomb or the Soviets will do it first and the world will end. I need to find a girlfriend before the year ends or I won't have anyone to go to prom with. And the world will end. The stronger the need for this intention, the better. And to counteract that, you have the obstacle. The thing that prevents the character from achieving what they need to. An impossibly powerful final villain. A time limit to build something that's never been built before. A man that has infinitely negative riz. The harder that obstacle is to overcome, the more compelling that journey will be. Break down a lot of TV series and movies to its basic core components, and you'll probably see this framework in action. Watching Frieren made me realize that barely any of this applies to her journey. She has a vague intention, retracing her old steps to reach this mythical place that may or may not exist so she can say goodbye to her old party, but it's not something she needs to do. The world's not going to end if she doesn't, and she can still go about her life if she fails. There are some obstacles, a snowstorm that stops their travel for a month, a qualification she doesn't have in order to pass to a new area, but it's never something you think she can't overcome. And
Right.
what that means is that instead of obstacles on the journey, you have stops.
Yeah.
A lot of stops. It's not even a journey anymore. It's a fucking London bus route. If you've ever watched a show and felt like the pacing was off, or what you're watching feels like, for lack of a better term, filler, most of the time it's probably because the series has spent too much time on a detour that deals with a certain obstacle or something and not progressing towards that final intentional goal. But
Yeah.
by omitting any goal that feels immediately urgent, Frieren makes it all about those detours. Some episodes can feel like they can take an hour, and some feel like they can take 5 minutes, and I mean this in the best of way because it always engages you in a different way. You never question whether you're spending too much or too little time in a certain place or a certain side story, and it allows you to just get fully absorbed in the moment. And it's in the moment.
That's kind of nice.
And that's how you do good
Yeah,
pacing.
I was gonna say that just sounds really nice.
Yeah, because that's our problem with, like, I mean, again, if anyone who's long-term watcher on the channel or patron knows that with the copious amounts of things we've watched over there, I mean, that's usually the biggest gripe that we have with a series is either it loses its own plot or the pacing just goes way off for quite literally no reason. And it really feels like they just padded out time. Like they had a beginning and they had an end goal in mind. So again, they had a goal, but they
Yeah.
were like, yeah, I don't know what to put in here, so we're just gonna I don't know. And then like it'll do a couple of good things, but then they're like, ooh, I still need like 5 episodes worth of content. Let's just make it all one thing. And that's so bad to do. Like, just don't do that. I would rather the series be super short and feel complete than to be a normal 12 to 13 or even a 24 episode long season where half of it just feels like I don't want to watch that. Like, but that's what so many shows fall into. So
minutes, and I
I'm-
mean
I'm-
this
I'm
in the
glad
best
this
of
one
way
does a good
because
job
it
with its
always
pacing.
engages you in a different way. You never question whether you're spending too much or too little time in a certain place or a certain side story, and it allows you to just get fully absorbed in the moment. And it's in the moment that the show wants to keep you. This show is all about living in the present, appreciating the time as it is now instead of regretting the past or being blinded by the future. And what drives this message home so strongly is the characters. Frieren's whole spiel is that she's this long-living elf that doesn't really care about what's going on because whatever happens will have a minuscule effect on her overall life, but strip that all away and you just have a girl that is disconnected from the world around her. The way
Right.
she acts is reminiscent to the character trope I probably despise the most in anime. The kudere. You've seen the ones. It's the characters that talk like this. Hello, what are feelings? These are confusing to me because I have the personality of wet cement. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that can relate in some way of having a calm personality that gets perceived as being stoic, but all too often, instead of feeling like a human, these characters feel like an android devoid of all emotions. Fuck, a lot of kuderes are literally androids devoid
Yeah.
of all emotions. And as someone who's
Looking at you,
introverted,
Violet.
it's perceived by a lot of my friends as someone who stays calm.
Wait, so
Most of the time, there is
Uh-huh.
nothing I can attach to with these characters. The difference with Frieren is that she clearly has emotions. She gets happy, annoyed, sad, and regretful in her own way. She's not emotionless, she's just emotionally distant, which makes absolute sense for the lifespan she has. It's not about her learning what emotions are and feeling things for the first time. It's about her learning why it's important to value those moments when you do, and being more mindful about the emotions the people around you have. And you don't need to be some immortal elf god to be able to relate to that. One of the early scenes that really hit me was when Frieren had a flashback of her party devastated they'd missed this sunrise, and she's like, why the hell do you all care? It's just a bloody sunrise. But then decades later, she has the opportunity to experience that same sunrise with Fern, who miraculously somehow was able to drag her out of bed to see what all the hubbub was about. And then they do. And it's beautiful. And Frieren still like, yeah, it's just a fucking sunrise, isn't it? But then she finds herself enjoying the experience. Not because she suddenly got some newfound appreciation of this sunrise, but because she got to share the moment with the people around her that do. And oh, god damn if this isn't so real. The amount of times I've gone and done something I never would have myself because I've had some mates fucking drag me out when I'd rather be doing nothing but staying inside playing some dumbass video games. And then it turns out that it's these moments that we still talk about and remember fondly when we hang out. Hey, remember that time when we decided to go camping and there was a thunderstorm and it was wet and everyone was fucking miserable, and then Russell ripped the fattest fucking fart of his life that overpowered the sound of the thunder, and I swear to god reverberated the entire bloody tent? That was some core memory shit right there. But beyond Frieren, you also have Fern and Stark. Two people who are not impossibly old like Frieren is, but still have their own troubles, dealing with human emotions for the opposite reason. Because they're the fucking Zoomers of the world, or whatever that equivalent is. You can tell they lack emotional maturity in dealing with other people. Like, for example, instead of communicating her anger and frustrations in a healthy way, Fern just bottles it all up and leaves everyone else to figure out what's bothering her, which she expresses in the most adorable bloody pout face possible. All right, I'm just saying, if I was there, I'd definitely make the situation 10 times worse, because I just want to look at her puffy little cheeks and go, booga, 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 is someone mad today? Yeah, maybe I'm even less mature than they are. But it's in that process of emotionally maturing that we get one of the best romance subplots I've seen in a very long time. I did not get into this type of show for any kind of romance, nor did I expect it to have one, as much as the fan art was telling me otherwise. And I just want to gush about it a bit. When I see romance in anime, especially if it's some kind of romance subplot in a wider story, I often feel like it was just an afterthought, and a lot of times can feel really clunky and inorganic. Characters will go about their business for like dozens of episodes with no indication there's any romantic feelings, sometimes having negative chemistry, for the series to suddenly sprinkle in this random scene that the girl realizes she has feelings for the protagonist, and it doesn't seem like that friendship kind of feeling, but the feeling she might just want him to canoodle that poodle, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm sitting there being like, alright, I guess it makes sense. It's reasons like this that a fan base can have debates and arguments on who they ship with who, what two people they want to end up together, because in reality, any of these couples could work because the story has not done the groundwork to properly set any of them up.
They're all equally shit.
But Frieren manages to weave this blossoming relationship into its storyline that feels so natural. Right from the beginning, you can see that there are no mutual feelings. In fact, the two struggle with understanding each other while they are adventuring. But as they spend more time together, you can see them slowly but surely start to understand, accept their small quirks, get comfortable around the other person, and most importantly, actually have banter and some chemistry with one another. Like everything else it does, the series actually takes its time to lay the crumbs down and let you see their relationship develop, leading to this dance scene that had me screaming like a 15-year-old girl who's about to publish her first Wattpad fanfiction. Through nothing but pure visual storytelling and micro-expressions, you can see the exact moment Fern's view towards Stark shifts from a companion to a crush. The way her facial expression changes from nervousness to comfort to finally happiness. You don't need 2 pages of internal dialogue to spell out exactly what she was feeling. This is the kind of shit you normally only get to see conveyed in a live action film with real actors, and it's executed so goddamn beautifully. No matter what Frieren tries, this show just does not seem to miss. Did I mention how hard the series goes in its action? Woo!
That's beautiful.
This is a series that doesn't even need good action. Right now, we're going
That's what I'm saying.
Tune in exam arc, and when that got introduced, I was like, huh. Is that the right vibe to go for here? And yet, even in this action-intensive arc, it never feels like it forgets its identity. Even with all these new characters being added, it feels like they all have something distinctive to say that ties back to the learning experience our party is going through. There is so much more
That
I
was
could
a
talk about.
huge
The
plate of
world
meat.
building, the magic system, Evan Cole's godly soundtrack, the absolute coldest moment we got to see last year. But what I want to end this on is Himmel, who is aptly named. Because he is just him. Even though his character essentially only exists in flashbacks outside of the beginning, you can feel his influence in every action that Frieren takes, every lesson she learns, every time she grows as a character. And I think what makes him such a great character is that he just feels like a dude. Himmel epitomizes what a true hero should be. Not because he saved the world or defeated the Demon Lord, he's just a guy who tries his best to leave a positive influence wherever he goes. He's the friend we all want, the role model we want to be. He's charming, he's charismatic. He is the embodiment of everything the story tries to remind you of. I don't think it's a coincidence. This story has hit so hard for so many of us and become the mega hit that it has. This came out in a time when I don't think we've ever been more connected, yet distant to the people around us. We're so overstimulated day to day, constantly being barraged with informations and things you should care about. It sometimes feels like you don't want to care about anything, or at least you're exhausted about doing so. So seeing someone as emotionally distant as Frieren learning to appreciate and understand the people around her is such a powerful reminder of what we should be valuing in our own lives. Frieren doesn't preach anything we don't already know. It's about the journey, not the destination. You shouldn't take for granted the time you're given. We've heard these so many times in our lives that they can turn into cliches in our heads and forget how true and valuable these lessons are. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month to Author Curtis Eckstein.
Shouts out to his patrons. Make this all possible.
I do want to watch that.
Yeah,
it gives me the same exact feelings I felt when I first watched Lord of the Rings, like that series, and that's what I love. And you were talking about the whole thing where some of the series we watch gets lost within with the fillers and stuff because it's not always done right. And I think that's the thing is like we don't necessarily mind having fillers in episodes because that is what kind of also keeps it engaging to kind of give it a break from sadness or extremes and stuff. But it's like when you add filler to connect a middle point, but then you get to a point where it backtracks on the story as a whole. Then it's like, what's happening? Whereas this, it's just so nice because it seems like the importance is in the adventure. And the journey. And that, again, that's what I loved about Lord of the Rings and stuff because it's literally the story of how we get here. And I like that. So I'm excited to watch this. It looks really comforting, I guess. Nostalgic. In a way.
Let's give us a little bit of everything. You got the good action scenes. You got just like the beautiful Vinland Saga-esque like scenery moments. Good character development. The only thing, he did mention that there's a lot of characters that get added into that new arc that just happened, but he said it didn't feel too bad. So I'll, we'll see how that happens because I have a problem with because that's the only thing. Story. But with her, obviously she had a party already, but outlived that party, so it's probably kind of a given that there's going to be a lot of characters coming and going in a series like that. So it's probably going to be fine. It's all just depends on how they do it, like it does with any series. Because I also don't enjoy when they just throw in like a cast of 30 fucking characters in a super short series and they're like, you're going to have to figure out how to like every single one of them. It's like, that's just not how that works. You just don't need that in a lot of shows, but they love to do it anyway because they want to scratch your little trope itch no matter what you have. So they just throw every character known to man with the most superficial tropes and just hope that you find one that you like. It's just like, bro, you could just make 5 solid characters that are really liked and it'll be fine. If y'all have watched the show, let us know what you think of it down below. Like I said, we are probably going to react to it. I don't know when. It's on our list. There's a lot of shows on our list of things to watch. We still got Oshinoko. We got Ninja Kamu. We have Frieren. There's a lot. Apocryphy Diaries. We wait until the shows are done before we start reacting to them. It's usually a very special occasion when we do a week-to-week watch where we react to them over on the Patreon. But let us know how much you enjoyed this series, and we will see you guys for the next video. Bye.